So we were discussing, alphabet A and how you can imagine that this triangle, if you make it uh, three-dimensional, it will explain something which might help you understand pyramids. I mean, it's maybe a small part of the story. It could be one of these stories, of course. Pyramids built, and uh, you try to find a path, interstellar path, or maybe path to the Creator. And the travesty of time and lack of understanding and lack of good economics would lead to an effort which might build a pyramid, absolutely balanced structure, amazing structure that it fascinates humanity even today. But then one of the pharaohs of Egypt would confuse himself to be the focal person of the universe, approximating direct approximation, from the tip of the pyramid to maybe some source, some interstellar source, some constellation, some star system, or even maybe some kind of a connection from that star to another constellation. It could be anything. And then finding a way out of the universe and finding origins of creation of the universe would confuse due to travesty of time, few thousand years ago, before the advent of logic, justice, would then lead to some kind of an exploitative economics which seems to be is under play in the build of pyramids, but would as well confuse one of the pharaohs of Egypt to really then think that trying to find a linear relationship between creator or interstellar contact and yourself, so looking at the pyramid would create confusion that maybe you are the focal person and actually you are the most powerful person, reason of whatever the world and the universe you observe. And academic world is so brilliant, especially in 21st century, 20th century, 19th century. We are used to becoming focal persons, but I know I can be focal person for organizing a conference which might gather academics, business people, leaders, a few hundred of them, and students, of course, including students. And imagine, national level leaders, regional level leaders, global leaders, and then still democracy or responsibility would identify their role and their constraints. In the modern world, big data is one of the constraints. Asymmetric information is one of the constraints. Diplomatic influence is one of the constraints. Economics is one of the constraints. It's a beautiful world, you don't get cognitively confused to claim that you have absolute power. I mean, there's kind of a maybe subconscious inbuilt weakness, or there's some subconscious evolutionary process which would lead to two understandings. Either it is human rights, every human is important, by first understanding how important you are for yourself. For yourself, you are the most important person of the universe. But then you need to get the other part correct, that it took few million years or few thousand years to make that understanding commonly available through examples of tangible, positive action. This is what I'm saying, that this pharaoh of Egypt is got confused. That's about it. But then you get another part of the story, how that the world really works, because alphabet, it starts from capital A alphabet, but it has a V as well. Now V is an approach, especially I can explain it through economics, that what happens is that you are building a spectrum. I mean, V suggests a spectrum. I mean, spectrum, the physics of spectrum is we understand it through understanding the spectrum of sound or spectrum of light. And the natural spectrum everybody can understand is of sunlight. Sun shining in the morning or in the evenings, or maybe in the afternoon. Spectrum is a little bit different, one-to-one correspondence. It's kind of a difference. Of course, there has to be one-to-one correspondence, as I've explained. You are the most important person of the universe for yourself. Only then you can really create a difference, but only you can understand knowledge and its context. And that's what I'm going to explain it to you. Now, this would, your spectrum might mean influence. Or spectrum might mean anything. First, you need to understand the spectrum is your area of influence, maybe. You'll be explained like that. What is happening is, what is the influence and outreach of the spectrum? That needs to be understood. And what kind of diversity it involves. For a global leader, for a United Nations, for even institutions, there can be a spectrum.